Welcome. What a great day to be at Villanova. Welcome to the 6th Annual Business Leaders Forum. We're so happy that all of you joined us. In particular, I'd like to welcome several members of the Board of Trustees and members of the President's Leadership Circle, including President Reverend Peter Donahue and Dr. Pat Magidi. A special thank you to the members of the VSB Advisory Councils, Center Directors, Directors of our Centers of Excellence, for all they do to support Villanova and this program. Many of you have had advisory council meetings today, and I hope you found that time together productive. I'd like to recognize and thank some of our sponsors, many of whom are here today, for providing financial support to make this year's Business Leaders Forum possible. A particular special thank you to our executive sponsors, Macy's and SAP. You can see a complete list of the sponsors behind me on the screens as well as in the program. Many people here today at Villanova and within VSB work hard throughout the year to make this program possible. In particular, I'd like to thank Dr. Jonathan Doe, Angela Lane, Vicki Forrest, Lauren Kleckner, Kevin Noller, Kathy Toner, Kathy Welsh, and Jennifer Winnie, and countless others for all they do to support this event. The Business Leaders Forum is an opportunity to bring together our community, to learn from and reconnect with colleagues and friends. It is a time to celebrate Villanova's many successes as a community. Our success is because of you. Having engaged alumni and friends is a critical component to the student experience. We thank you for being advocates of Villanova in your organizations, for being mentors to our students, and for your philanthropic investments in Villanova. We have much to be proud of, and we certainly couldn't do it without your help. This year's theme is engaging millennials, and it's important for many reasons, but perhaps the most important reason is that they represent the largest population of the U.S. history, and they are just beginning to reach their prime working and spending years. Throughout this program, you'll have an opportunity to hear from Father Peter, as well as Dr. Pat Magidi, to learn about the exciting things that are happening at the university level. You'll also hear some of the great programs we at VSB are working on to prepare this millennial generation to be future leaders at organizations like the ones you represent. We're very excited today to welcome Carolyn Everson, Vice President of Global Marketing Solutions at Facebook, as our keynote speaker. She will give her perspective on millennials in the workplace. This will be followed by a panel discussion to continue that conversation about millennials, led by Dr. Julie Persch, Assistant Professor of Marketing, and featuring some of our young alumni. Once again, welcome and thank you all for joining us here today. It is now my pleasure to introduce Reverend Peter Donahue, our 32nd president, to provide some remarks about the many exciting things happening at the university. Father Peter earned a BA with a concentration in theater and communications from Villanova in 1975 and was ordained an Augustinian priest in 1979. He holds a master's degree in theater from the Catholic University of America, a Master of Divinity from the Washington Theological Union, and a PhD in theater from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Father Peter has been serving as president here at Villanova since 2006, and during that time he has launched a new strategic plan, a campus master plan, and launched the largest capital campaign in the university's history. Welcome, Father Peter.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Villanova. It's always nice to welcome young and middle-aged and older alumni back to the university. Parents, friends, it's an exciting time for us, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of showcase some of the things that are happening here at the university. One of the principles of our faculty that they teach at the business school is that there's continuous improvement. And our students are challenged to think creatively, to test new approaches, find more effective solutions to benefit the community and the world in which they live in. They apply these practices to their case studies and their everyday life. Just ask any junior how they transverse the campus from the West Campus apartments over to Bartley Hall every day. They will show you the fastest way to get from the West Campus to Bartley Hall, and it's usually by way of a car. But their ambition is to reach new heights, and it's not just taught at the Villanova School of Business, but it really is something that is taught throughout the campus and through all of our programs. It's really the nature of what Villanova is all about. St. Augustine is a very prominent figure here at the university, and we quote him often. I quote him on a regular basis, and I'd like to share with you something that he said that helps us to really focus and think about what we are and the kinds of people that we are. He says, "I still continue. I still make progress. I am still moving ahead. I am still on my way. I still reach forward. I have not yet arrived. Do not be content with what you are if you want to become what you are not." I shared this quote with the faculty, the students, and the staff at the beginning of the freshman orientation program, and I challenged them to do just as Augustine calls us to do, to strive to become ever better. Villanova is a great institution because of our innovation, our dedication to the restless pursuit of a better future. For our students, the university, and for the world. We are proud, but we are not content. Instead, we push forward, we become more innovative, more resourceful. Villanovans make Villanova and the world around them a little greater each year. Academic environment, and we inspire people to do their best. And I look forward to their leadership in this role. This summer, we began the first phase of a major campus transformation project that will build new residence halls and a performing arts center, along with a large parking structure along Lancaster Avenue. This space will invite new opportunities for student engagement and allow more students to live on campus for all 4 years of their time here at Villanova. The transformation will bring new facilities to campus that reflect the caliber of our student body and the talents that they share. The quality of Villanova's living and learning experience will be improved by this new project. And I am excited to see the energy that these new developments, both within the classroom and in our infrastructure, will bring to Villanova. The excitement and the anticipation for the future is why we launched For the Greater Great, the Villanova campaign to ignite change. And it's why Villanovans have come together to provide record-breaking support for the university. It's actually been 2 years since we first announced this $600 million campaign goal. And today I'm proud to announce that we have raised slightly over $450 million, bringing us 3/4 to the way of our goal. And the Villanova School of Business has been essential in this success, with more than $110 million in gifts, pledges. And today, we want to thank you for that incredible support that you have provided, not only to VSB, but to Villanova University. As we transform our campus, you are part of the constant change that is occurring here on this campus. Each year, new graduates enter the workforce. You welcome them, and you encourage them, and you challenge them. Today's theme, Engaging Millennials, we understand that the millennial population wants a sense of purpose in their work. They want to have impact. Villanovans do that. We ignite change. But it is not possible without the right opportunities and the tools to do so. Your leadership, your mentorship, and your generosity have made all of that possible. Many of you in this room have helped and continue to help VSB students gain internships and job placements. You share your insights in classes and workshops, and your constant advice to them is something that they really grow and experience from. I would think one of the most engaging things that our students find here at Villanova is the opportunity to meet with alums, to hear your experience, to know your stories, to understand where you've been and where you hope to go. Students need those examples to demonstrate the greatness that they can achieve, and they need role models who will inspire them to carry the values of truth, unity, and love throughout their personal and professional lives. You are those role models, and you have demonstrated that burning desire to make a difference. I encourage you to nurture that passion in all that you do, to ignite the hearts, the minds, and the spirits of the next generation of Villanova business leaders. Thank you very much for joining us here today at Villanova and for everything that you've done to make Villanova what Villanova is.
Thank you, Father. I am honored to recognize the recipient of the Reverend Joseph C. Bartley OSA Alumni Medallion. This annual award recognizes alumni who have distinguished themselves in their careers, demonstrated service to their communities, and extraordinary service to the Villanova School of Business. It is the highest distinction bestowed to VSB alumni, and we have had impressive winners over the past several years. In fact, one of those winners is in the audience today, Dan Hogarty, retired president and CEO of the Troy Savings Bank and the Troy Financial Corporation. The medallion is named after Reverend Joseph C. Bartley, OSA, and the award recipient embodies the Augustinian ideals of veritas, unitas, caritas, truth, unity, and love. Father Bartley's life and ministry are remembered as more than just a name of a building here on campus. Joseph Bartley was born in Lawrence, Massachusetts in 1893. After completing his collegiate and theological studies at Villanova, he was ordained into the priesthood at St. Charles Seminary in 1919. He received his PhD in economics in 1922. And for the next 40 years was associated with Villanova College. In 1928, when the College of Commerce and Finance was established, he became its first dean. Father Bartley held this position until his death at the age of 69 in 1962. He is buried on campus near the St. Thomas of Villanova Church. Bartley Hall, the home of the Villanova School of Business, is named in his honor. The award selection committee, comprised of VSB staff and faculty, met to review the nominations and has chosen Kevin Curley, a 1980 graduate of the Villanova School of Business. At this time, I'd like for Father Peter and Kevin Curley to come to the stage for the award presentation. Kevin Curley is the CEO of Curley Financial Group. Prior to forming Curley Financial Group, he founded the Curley Insurance Group in 1988 and grew it into one of the largest insurance brokers in the U.S. Kevin is very involved in the Dallas, Texas community, serving as board member for many corporate, civic, and charitable organizations. Kevin has been an active alumnus as well, giving his time, talent, and treasure over the years. He re-energized the Houston Alumni Chapter, headed up the Dallas Alumni Chapter, and served as the president of Villanova University Alumni Association. He serves on the VSB's Dean's Advisory Council, the President's Leadership Council, and chairs the Villanova School of Business Campaign Committee. Most recently, Kevin committed funds as part of the Villanova's For the Greater Great campaign to complete major renovations and name the Bartley Exchange, one of the most popular dining facilities on campus. It is my great pleasure to recognize, thank, and award Kevin Curley with the Bartley Medallion.
Thank God for iPads. Well, to start off, thank you very much, Father, Dean. What a beautiful day. Reminds me of these many days when I was at Villanova. I think we had 2 days like this in my 4 years here. So thanks for arranging that. I want to thank everybody for attending. I know everybody's very busy. I especially want to thank my friends at the table here on my left. My son, Kevin, who made the politically correct decision to attend the Villanova School of Business. He's a 2009 graduate. My daughter went a little south of here, University of Georgia, but she went to the business school there. So I want to thank her for coming today as well, and my other friends at the table as well. I wasn't sure who's responsible for this award today, but I found out. But I always thought that Dean Magidi, now Provost Magidi, had an oversized influence in it, so I want to thank you and Father for thinking of me for the award. We've been blessed at the Villanova School of Business. I know a lot of the folks here in the Dean's Advisory Council. We had Dean Danko before, and he kind of wrote me back into getting involved in the school, and he's obviously gone on to Bartley University to become the president. We had Dean Magidi, who's now Provost Magidi, which is the number 2 at Villanova University, and now we have Dean Wright. And so we've been very blessed to have 3 really great deans here, and that speaks to the record of the business school and how, I think it was $110 million you said, Father? That's a direct compliment to the 3 deans. They've been very instrumental in that. I also want to, without getting too emotional, say thank you to my parents, especially my father. They're not here today, but without him, I wouldn't have attended Villanova. I remember in 1971, Villanova was in the Final Four. Basketball and sports, as Father has learned as he's become president, is very important to the university. But I remember as a kid, I was 12, 13 years old, watching Villanova play in the Final Four. And my father, I was sitting right next to him, and he just had this unbelievable respect for Villanova. Everything was great about the school. It was a great school, and Jack Krev was a great coach, and it stuck with me when 4 or 5 years later I put my college applications into all the New York schools, which is where I'm from. And for some reason, I sent an application off to Villanova. And really, it was because of that Final Four game. My father was just, the mentors, he had more respect for it than Harvard. And that's what I remember. The first day I got to Villanova, my father drove me down with my sister and got to the campus. I knew nobody who went to college, nobody at Villanova, no college graduates in our family. So we had I had no expectations of what to expect. And we pulled up to Galberry Hall, which is on the south end of Villanova, and we ran into 2 fellows. They were juniors, so I was in trouble already. Rich Kelly and Pete Fox, they're at my table here 40 years later. And my father, he was a New York City cop, and he said, "Take care of Kevin." Well, they had a different idea of taking care of me than my father did. But it all worked out just the same. Villanova School of Business had a profound influence on my career, even though I didn't realize it when I graduated. Father quoted St. Augustine before. I'm going to quote somebody like him, Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao, they asked him about the French Revolution about 175 years later, and they said, "What do you think about it?" And his answer was, "It's too early to tell." That's really kind of the way I thought of my Villanova education. I took accounting and finance and economics. We took case studies, strategic business studies on how to solve problems for GM, Ford, IBM. That's what we did senior year here. And but then when I entered the workforce, I wasn't solving any problems for GM. I was trying to survive myself for a few years. And then about 8 years later, when I started my company, strangely enough, it all kind of flowed in. The credits, I think they're on that side, and the debits were on that side, and the accounting and the economics and the finance and the human resource and even insurance, which is strange enough, I took a class at Villanova in that. It all kind of filtered back, so I really was in a position to actually run a company. Villanova now has an entrepreneurial society. They have kids starting companies when they're sophomores and juniors. But really, at the end of the day, Villanova was an unbelievable training ground for entrepreneurs back then. George Bush said there's no word for entrepreneur in the French language. Well, I don't even think we knew the word entrepreneur at Villanova in the 1970s. But as it turned out, it really was a great training ground because it taught you all the disciplines. It had no idea what you were going to do. I think I was a management major, which, what does that mean? I wasn't accounting, I wasn't finance, I was kind of a generalist. So I was exposed to a lot with a little. And so when I built the business, it all helped, all that stuff, so I could actually talk to the financing and do the bank loans and talk to bank presidents. It all worked out because I could actually converse with them on maybe not an equal level, but almost an equal level. The last part I'd say is when I graduated from Villanova in 1980, about 90% of my class went to Wall Street. I think Wall Street's that way. I went the other way. I went to the beaches of Southern California. Now, no parent would accept that today, but my father said, hey, go have some fun. That was his attitude. And so I did. I went out there, I had a bunch of fun. But I thought I was really finished with Villanova at that point because there were no cell phones, there was no emails, there was no texting. So when you're 22 years old, 3,000 miles from home, and you're broke, it's barely enough to keep in touch with your parents, otherwise keep in touch with friends and Villanovans. But somehow, one friend I kept in touch with was Maura Higgins, who's at the table, and so somehow we still conversed for those 10, 12 years. I was kind of out of pocket. But little did I know, ultimately, how much I would get involved in Villanova. And a little bit like Michael Corleone of The Godfather, you know, you try to get away and they rope you back in. Well, they keep roping me back in for different things over the years. You know, Father also talked about St. Augustine. I saw something from Yogi Berra the other day, which was pretty funny. He said, never make predictions, especially about the future. And so when I was thinking about this award, I just, you know, thought about my father. I just thought, boy, you know, 40 years ago, 38 years ago, however long it was, I never thought I would actually be sitting up here, having become this involved with Villanova, getting awarded this, so I'm obviously very deeply appreciative. When I started getting back involved in Villanova, man, I met so many great people. Some of you know them. Unfortunately, some of them have passed, but, you know, God rest their souls. But Wally Roth, Jim Mulvihill, Mike Conley, man, we had so many laughs and so many good times. And this Villanova camaraderie, which I kind of really wasn't, during the 4 years here, I had a great time, but I didn't experience it as much as I did when I graduated. I had more of an involvement and more fun with the Villanova guys and girls after I graduated, when I got to be 35, 40, 45 years old. You know, the last thing I would say about the Villanova School of Business is, I tell my kids this all the time, hopefully they're listening. I learned a long time ago, you always get more out of something than you put in. Sometimes it takes many, many years for that to actually happen, but my involvement in Villanova has been fulfilling in so many ways. Yeah, I put some things in, but I've gotten so much more back, including a golf date the other day at Pine Valley. So I continue to get a lot more things than I put in, and all I can say in closing is thank you.
Congratulations again, Kevin. I invite everyone to take a break now in the lobby and come back at 1:30. So they're going to change the tables, and so we need to kind of move out there. There might be alcohol out there, I'm not sure, but let's hope.